Most people have been talking to the wrong version of themselves their entire lives. They repeat the same fears, carry the same doubts, and broadcast the same tired frequencies, and then wonder why their reality never changes. But what if the reason your life hasn't shifted yet isn't because the universe ignored you? What if it's because it heard you perfectly and gave you exactly what you were actually transmitting? This audiobook is called How to Talk to the Universe, and that title isn't metaphor. It isn't poetry. It is the most precise description of what you are about to learn. Because the universe isn't distant. It isn't indifferent. It is extraordinarily responsive. It mirrors back to you with stunning accuracy the energy you carry, the convictions you hold, and the intentions you set. Most human beings move through their entire existence without once realizing they are in constant, unbroken communication with the universe through their thoughts, their emotions, and even their silence. Every breath is a signal. Every belief is a broadcast. Every feeling is a frequency. But what if you could do this with intention? What if you could transmit clear, precise, powerful signals and hold the absolute certainty that they are being received, processed, and answered? That is what this journey is about. This is your invitation, not to beg, not to plead, but to finally learn the language the universe has always been waiting for you to speak. Step in. The conversation begins now. Drop 111. I am ready to transmit a new frequency into existence in the comments right now. Chapter 1. The Vibrational Nature of Reality. The universe you inhabit is not a fixed, static arrangement of matter floating in empty space. It is not random. It is not indifferent. And it is most certainly not blind to your presence. Every corner of existence, from the invisible subatomic world beneath your feet to the vast, breathtaking expanses of galaxies spinning billions of light years away, is pulsing with rhythm, intelligence, and an intricate vibrational architecture that underlies all of creation. To genuinely comprehend how to talk to the universe and receive a meaningful response, you must first anchor yourself in one foundational truth that changes everything once you truly absorb it. Everything is energy, and all energy vibrates. This is not a spiritual opinion. This is not wishful metaphysics dressed up in scientific language. At the subatomic level, the deepest layer of physical reality that science has been able to examine, particles flicker in and out of existence in ways that defy the ordinary logic of solid, predictable matter. Their very behavior appears to be shaped by observation itself. The act of watching changes what is seen. Behind this apparent mystery is an elegant, unified truth. All things are energy vibrating at different frequencies. The chair beneath you, the air moving through your lungs, the thought currently forming in your mind, all of it is energy in motion. All of it is vibration. When we speak of vibration, we are describing the rate at which energy moves. Low-frequency vibrations tend to manifest in your experience as heaviness, fear, chronic doubt, or stagnation. That thick, resistant feeling when nothing seems to flow. High-frequency vibrations, by contrast, express themselves through joy, deep love, mental clarity, and an open sense of abundance. This vibrational spectrum does not apply only to objects or physical matter. It applies with equal force to your thoughts, your emotions, and your intentions. Every single one of them carries a measurable energetic signature. Your thoughts are not passive, fleeting whispers that drift through your awareness and disappear without consequence. They are energetic signals. Each thought emits a specific frequency, much like a radio broadcast transmitted from a tower. If you were to imagine your mind as a transmitter, then your thoughts are the messages being sent out into the universe continuously, around the clock, whether you are conscious of it or not. And like a cosmic mirror of extraordinary precision, the universe reflects back to you the content of what you have been consistently broadcasting. But it does not stop with thought alone. Your emotions serve as amplifiers, the power source behind your transmission. A thought charged with strong emotion becomes exponentially more influential than the same thought held passively. This is the reason a desire that is deeply, viscerally felt tends to move toward manifestation far more quickly than a casual preference or a surface-level wish. The emotional charge behind your thoughts is what determines the intensity and magnetic pull of your signal. Consider a concrete illustration. Suppose you entertain the thought, "I want to draw more abundance into my life." If that thought is secretly wrapped in desperation, fear, or a quiet inner voice insisting you are unworthy of wealth, then the overall frequency you are emitting is not the frequency of abundance. It is the frequency of lack. And the universe does not decipher your words. It reads your vibration. This is precisely why affirmations that are intellectually repeated but emotionally hollow so often produce no results. The true language of the universe is vibrational. It is not verbal. Your voice carries far less weight than your energy. Now envision a different kind of person, someone who holds a calm, unshakable inner certainty that abundance is a natural condition of existence, not a reward for the deserving few, but a fundamental state available to all. Their thoughts are not merely words arranged in positive sentences. They are expressions of a deep interior alignment. That alignment emits a high-frequency vibration that resonates at the same level as the vibration of abundance itself. This is the person who begins noticing opportunities arriving from unexpected directions. Synchronicities start appearing like breadcrumbs along a path. Resources and connections materialize in ways that the logical mind cannot fully account for. Not because of luck, but because of vibrational congruence. Because like attracts like, and frequency calls to frequency. This brings us to an essential realization that must be absorbed deeply, not just understood intellectually. Manifestation is not about forcing an outcome into existence, begging an invisible force for mercy, or convincing the universe that you deserve something. It is about becoming vibrationally aligned with what you desire. If you want love, you must embody the frequency of love within yourself first. If you want peace, you must cultivate genuine inner peace rather than waiting for external conditions to grant it to you. If you want success, you must already carry the vibration of confident clarity in your daily lived experience. So, how do you actually change your vibration? The first and most critical step is awareness. You cannot alter what remains invisible to you. Begin observing your inner state with honesty and consistency. Not just what you are thinking, but how you are genuinely feeling beneath those thoughts. Your feelings are the most transparent and reliable indicators of your vibrational state. Are you operating from hope or from quiet anxiety? From sincere gratitude or from thinly disguised resentment? From a sense of personal power or from the posture of defeat? Checking in with yourself regularly, truly, and honestly begins the process of reclaiming authority over the frequencies you are broadcasting into the field. The second step is conscious recalibration. This means deliberately choosing thoughts, behaviors, and daily practices that elevate your vibration rather than suppress it. One of the most reliably effective methods is cultivating emotional resonance with states that naturally operate at high frequencies. Gratitude, for instance, is one of the most powerful energetic states available to a human being. Not the performance of gratitude, not mechanically writing thank you lists out of obligation, but the genuine, expansive feeling of appreciation that arises when you truly acknowledge the fullness of what you already possess. When that feeling is real, it shifts your entire energetic field. Similarly, acts of genuine kindness, the practice of forgiveness, releasing others not for their benefit, but for your own energetic freedom. Mindfulness that anchors you in present moment awareness, and creative expression that channels your inner world into the outer one. All of these elevate your frequency in measurable ways. On the physical level, intentional movement of the body, time spent in natural environments, nourishing food, and restorative sleep all influence your baseline energetic state. You are not a disembodied mind floating above a body you occasionally inhabit. You are a unified field, mind, body, spirit, in constant dynamic interaction with the world around you. Understand also the fundamental importance of consistency. The universe is not primarily responding to your occasional inspired moments of positivity. It is responding to your dominant vibration, the energetic tone you carry most reliably across the full texture of your days. This is why a temporary emotional high, a fleeting burst of motivated enthusiasm, rarely produces lasting external change. Your results emerge from your consistent emotional baseline, the energy you inhabit when you are not consciously performing manifestation practices. You cannot fabricate your frequency, but you can shift it. And the more diligently you practice, the more effortlessly your elevated state becomes your natural default. Another practice of extraordinary power is visualization, not merely as a mental exercise of imagining pictures, but as a full sensory, emotionally immersive experience. When you visualize your desires and simultaneously feel the joy of their fulfillment as though it is already completely real in this present moment, you begin harmonizing with the frequency of that desired reality. The subconscious mind operates without the capacity to distinguish between a vividly, emotionally imagined experience and an actual lived event. Therefore, when you visualize from the depths of genuine feeling, from the heart rather than the surface of the intellect, you program your subconscious to expect and accept your envisioned reality as normal and inevitable. That expectation becomes the vibrational foundation upon which physical manifestation builds itself. Your environment, too, deserves conscious attention. The individuals you spend the majority of your time with, the media you consistently consume, the spaces you inhabit, all of these exert a continuous influence on your energetic baseline. Choose relationships and environments that genuinely uplift you, challenge you toward growth, and remind you of your own capacity. Guard your energy with the same fierce intentionality you would apply to guarding your most precious physical possession, because it is. Finally, practice the paradoxical but essential art of surrendering to the intelligence of the universe. When you release the tight, anxious grip of needing to control precisely how and when your desires manifest, you create open space for divine timing to move freely. Surrender is not resignation. It is not passive acceptance of whatever arrives. It is active trust, a confident declaration that the universe is not working against you, but with you, through you, as an extension of you. And it is always, without exception, responding to your vibration. In essence, to speak to the universe, you must communicate in the only language it truly comprehends: frequency. Words in isolation are insufficient. It is your energy, your emotional state, and the embodied truth of who you are being in each moment that carries your real message. The universe has been listening to you your entire life. The invitation now is to begin speaking with intention. Chapter 2. Setting Clear Intentions. In the previous chapter, we uncovered the foundational truth that the universe is vibrational in nature, that it responds not to the surface meaning of your words, but to the deeper frequency of your energy. This understanding forms the bedrock of conscious manifestation. But to begin shaping your reality with genuine precision rather than vague hoping, you must now step fully into the role of a conscious creator. And that process begins with setting clear intentions. Think of your intention as a blueprint for what you are building. While your vibration functions as the emotional and energetic fuel that powers the entire manifestation process, your intention provides the architectural structure. Without clarity of intention, your energy disperses in multiple competing directions simultaneously, like the scattered beam of a flashlight rather than the focused, penetrating power of a laser. The universe will always respond. But when your signal is undefined and diffuse, the response you receive will reflect that same lack of definition. A significant number of people fall into the trap of wishing for imprecise things. I want to be happier. I want more money. I want to experience love. While these desires are entirely valid as starting points, they are far too undefined for the universe to translate into specific, tangible form. What does happiness actually look like in the concrete details of your daily life? What specific amount of money, arriving through what channels, by what timeline? In what form would love most meaningfully appear in your experience? Without precise definition, desire remains a pleasant feeling rather than a directive the universe can act upon. A clear intention provides your vibration with something tangible and specific to resonate with. Just as you cannot navigate toward a destination you have not identified on your map, you cannot manifest a reality you have not consciously and specifically chosen. Intention is the act of moving from passive desire, the posture of hoping, into active, deliberate creation. It communicates to the universe, "This is what I have chosen, not merely what I vaguely hope for." It is simultaneously a declaration and a commitment made from a grounded position of inner knowing rather than from desperation or a sense of lack. If your vibration is the song you are broadcasting, then your intention is the lyrics. Together, they create resonant harmony. In quantum terms, intention functions as the mechanism that begins collapsing infinite possibility into a specific, crystallizing probability. The quantum field holds unlimited potential in a state of superposition, all possibilities existing simultaneously until a specific one is called forward. Your intention serves as the precise energetic magnet that begins pulling the desired possibility out of the field of pure potential and drawing it toward physical reality. A genuinely powerful intention contains three key elements working in concert. The first is specificity. Be precise in a way that leaves no room for ambiguity. Rather than, "I want more money," craft the intention, "I am now receiving $10,000 each month generated through my creative work and natural abilities." The more specific and detailed your intention, the more readily your subconscious mind and the universe can lock onto a clear, actionable target. Vagueness is the enemy of manifestation. The second element is present tense language. Frame your intention as though it is already unfolding in the current moment. This linguistic choice reinforces the emotional reality of your desire being already present, which in turn strengthens the vibrational alignment you are building. For example, "I am living in my dream home, surrounded by beauty and deep inner peace." Notice how this phrasing plants you inside the experience rather than positioning you as someone looking at it from a distance. The third element is emotional alignment. Actively attach the feeling of genuine fulfillment to your intention. Ask yourself with sincerity, How would I genuinely feel if this intention were already fully real in my life right now? Then practice embodying that feeling as consistently as possible throughout your day. As was emphasized in the previous chapter, the universe speaks emotion fluently and responds to it powerfully. A critical component that many practitioners overlook is aligning your intentions with your deepest core values. Intention without authentic alignment is like constructing a building on an unstable foundation. It may stand temporarily, but it lacks the structural integrity to endure. Ask yourself honestly, why do I genuinely want this? Is this intention arising from my authentic truth, or is it being driven by external pressure, fear of inadequacy, or a need to prove something to others? When your intentions are genuinely rooted in your core values, in what truly matters to you at the deepest level of your being, they become magnetic. They carry the energy of integrity and inner congruence. Manifestation flows more naturally and with less internal friction because there is no hidden part of you working against what another part is attempting to build. Someone might set the intention, I want to become a millionaire. If that intention is secretly rooted in a desire to validate their worth in the eyes of people who doubted them, it carries the energetic signature of insecurity and unresolved pain. But if the intention is, I desire financial freedom so that I may live with full creative expression and support the causes that genuinely matter to me, that intention resonates at a higher, cleaner frequency, one the universe can partner with far more harmoniously. Once your intention is set with clarity and genuine alignment, you must give it consistent attention without sliding into obsession. Focus is among the most underestimated tools in the entire manifestation process. Your ability to concentrate your energy in a specific, sustained direction amplifies the process significantly. Daily practices. Intentional journaling in which you write your desired reality as though it is already present. Scripting your future from inside the experience of living it. Repeating affirmations that are genuinely felt rather than mechanically recited. All of these keep your intention alive and active in your consciousness rather than allowing it to drift into vagueness. One of the most common and costly misunderstandings about intention is confusing it with rigid expectation. When you demand that your intention manifest in one precise way, through one specific channel, on one particular timeline of your choosing, you limit the universe's extraordinary capacity to deliver in forms and through pathways you could not have anticipated or designed yourself. True intention is firm in its direction, while remaining completely open regarding form. You can hold the unwavering intention of attracting a career that genuinely fulfills and compensates you abundantly, without insisting that it must arrive through a specific job title at a specific organization. This openness, this flexibility of form with firmness of direction, allows the universe the creative latitude to surprise you with outcomes that exceed what your rational mind could have engineered. Intentions are also living energy that naturally evolves as you evolve. Revisit and reflect on your intentions periodically, every few weeks.
And ask yourself with genuine curiosity, does this still resonate with who I am becoming? Is there a deeper truth beneath this surface desire that I have not yet articulated? Am I still holding this intention from a place of authentic alignment, or has it become a habit I have not examined? This reflective practice ensures that you are consistently manifesting from your current truth, the living, evolving version of you, rather than from a version of yourself that existed months ago and has since grown beyond that earlier expression. Finally, allow your environment to become a living affirmation of your intentions. Surround yourself with objects, images, and sensory cues that evoke the feeling of your desired life as though it is already your present reality. Design your physical and digital spaces to quietly whisper your intentions back to you throughout the day. When everything in your environment gently affirms your chosen direction, your subconscious absorbs that reality continuously, not just during formal visualization sessions, but through the constant background influence of your surroundings. Setting a clear intention is ultimately the act of transforming your inner desire into a formal, energetically charged invitation to the universe. You are not commanding. You are not pleading. You are declaring with quiet confidence and inner certainty, this is what I choose. This is who I am in the process of becoming. I am prepared to receive. The universe has already begun rearranging itself in response. Your intention is the signal. Your vibration is the power behind it. Together, they initiate the sacred process of conscious co-creation. There is one more dimension of intention setting that deserves its own space in your awareness, because it is where most practitioners silently stumble without understanding why. It is the dimension of self-image. Your intentions must be congruent not just with your desires, but with the identity you hold about yourself at your core. If you set an intention for extraordinary success, but internally carry the self-concept of someone who consistently falls short, someone for whom great things are possible but somehow never quite arrive, then there is a fundamental misalignment operating beneath the surface. The intention points in one direction, the identity points in another, and identity almost always wins. This is why the work of conscious manifestation is never purely a matter of technique. It is a matter of identity, of becoming, on the inside, the version of yourself who naturally inhabits the reality you are calling forward. The person who genuinely lives in abundance does not strain to think about abundance. It is simply who they are. The person who genuinely attracts.
Deep love does not perform loving thoughts as a discipline. They are simply a loving being. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not primarily a gap in knowledge, technique, or strategy. It is a gap in identity. And intention, when held with genuine commitment and emotional depth over time, is one of the most powerful instruments available for bridging that gap. Practical implementation matters here. You do not simply set an intention once and then move on, hoping it works. You establish a daily relationship with your intention. You speak it, you write it, you feel it, you act from it. In the morning, before the noise of the world crowds in, You return to your intention and feel it as real. In the evening, before you carry your consciousness into sleep, that extraordinary receptive state in which the subconscious is wide open and deeply impressionable, you revisit your intention and feel the gratitude of its fulfillment. You bookend your days with the vibrational reality of what you have chosen. Journaling is an especially powerful vehicle for this daily relationship. Write your intention not as a future hope, but as a present reality. Write from inside the experience. Describe your life as it is, now that your intention has fully manifested. What does your morning look like? Who is around you? What emotions move through you as you step into your day? How does your body feel? What does your work feel like? What kinds of conversations are you having? The more vivid, specific, and emotionally alive your written expression, the more powerfully it programs your subconscious to recognize this reality as your new normal. And when you notice doubt arising, as it inevitably will, because doubt is part of being human, do not treat it as evidence that your intention is failing. Treat it as information about where your identity work still needs attention. A flicker of doubt does not cancel your intention. It is simply a signal pointing to a belief that has not yet been fully updated. Acknowledge it. Investigate it. Ask it, where did you come from? What are you protecting me from? And then consciously choose the more empowering belief, not because you are forcing positivity, but because you are genuinely deciding which version of reality you are willing to inhabit. Intention, in its fullest expression, is not a wish dressed up in confident language. It is a declaration of identity. It is the moment you decide, truly decide, from the center of your being, who you are and what reality you are choosing to experience. The universe does not negotiate. It does not evaluate your qualifications. It does not check whether you have earned what you are asking for. It simply responds to what you are. Set your intention clearly. Align it with your deepest values. Embody it as identity. And then watch as the universe begins the extraordinary process of rearranging itself around the truth of who you have decided to become. Chapter 3. The Power of Belief. We have explored how the universe responds to the frequency you emit, and we have examined how setting clear, aligned intentions creates a precise roadmap for that vibration to follow. Now we arrive at what may be the single most pivotal point in the entire manifestation journey, the inner engine that fuels both your vibration and your intention simultaneously. Your beliefs. If your vibration is the frequency you broadcast, and your intention is the specific message you transmit, then belief is the transmitter itself. It determines the strength, the consistency, and the ultimate reach of your signal into the universe. Without genuine belief operating beneath your practices, intentions fall flat, and vibrations become unstable and contradictory. Belief is the magnetic force that draws your desires from the realm of thought into the realm of physical form. Belief shapes perception, and perception, in the most literal sense possible, shapes reality. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you experience, every choice you make at their deepest root is filtered through the lens of your beliefs. They function as the silent, invisible architects of your inner world. You do not see the world as it is.
you see the world as you believe it to be. This means your beliefs do not merely influence what you attract into your life. They define the very boundaries of what your awareness recognizes as possible for you to attract at all.
Consider a concrete example. If you carry a deep-seated, subconscious conviction that financial abundance is genuinely difficult to create, that money is scarce, that people like you do not build real wealth, that opportunity is reserved for the privileged few, then regardless of how many times you repeat abundance affirmations, how many vision boards you create, or how vividly you visualize prosperity, your subconscious programming will operate against you. You will unconsciously dismiss opportunities, create self-sabotaging patterns, or generate internal resistance that repels the very conditions you are consciously seeking. Your spoken desires and your operative beliefs are pointing in opposite directions, and the beliefs will almost always determine the outcome. On the other hand, if you genuinely carry the conviction, not as a performed attitude, but as a lived inner reality, that opportunity is everywhere, that you are a natural magnet for abundance, and that prosperity is your authentic inheritance rather than a distant reward, then even in the midst of external difficulty, your energetic field remains open and genuinely receptive. The universe reflects that openness back to you through the quality of what you encounter. From a neuroscientific perspective, the power of belief operates through a specific mechanism. The reticular activating system in your brain functions as an extraordinarily sophisticated filter. It determines what information in your environment actually rises to your conscious awareness, based on what your belief system has told it is relevant and important. If you operate from the belief that meaningful opportunities consistently show up for me, your reticular activating system begins scanning your entire environment with that filter active. You notice synchronicities you would have previously overlooked, opportunities that were always present but previously invisible begin appearing with remarkable consistency. Connections manifest that your previous filter would have screened out entirely. The inverse is equally true and equally powerful. If you operate from the belief that life is fundamentally unfair and weighted against you, your brain's filter highlights every setback, every delay, every disappointment. Not because these are objectively more numerous, but because your belief system has instructed your awareness to prioritize them. This is not merely psychology. It is energetic alignment made neurological. Here is a truth that carries enormous liberating power once it is genuinely absorbed. Belief is not something that simply happens to you. It is something you choose. Most people operate under the assumption that they must first see compelling evidence before they can allow themselves to believe. The universe, however, does not function on that sequence. Belief is the seed. Evidence is the fruit that grows from it. If you consistently wait for external proof before you permit yourself to believe, you perpetuate an endless cycle in which the proof never arrives, because the belief that would draw it has never been established. The most effective conscious creators are those who make the deliberate decision to believe in advance, to hold the inner certainty of their desired reality long before the physical world has produced any confirming evidence. This is faith in its most practical and energetically precise form. Not faith as wishful thinking, faith as a chosen vibrational state. You do not need to generate a complete overhaul of your entire belief system overnight.
Begin with one belief, a single, specific conviction that genuinely supports your primary intention. Nurture it with attention. Affirm it with feeling. Actively seek even the smallest pieces of evidence that support it. That is precisely how new beliefs establish themselves and grow into solid conviction. Before you can fully inhabit empowering beliefs, you must honestly examine the beliefs that are currently functioning as limitations. These are frequently subconscious, woven into your inner operating system through childhood experiences, cultural conditioning, repeated early failures, and the accumulated messages of people whose approval you once needed. Common limiting beliefs include, I am fundamentally not good enough. Success at that level is genuinely for other people, not for someone like me. If I try and fail, the failure will confirm my worst fears about myself. I consistently
attract the wrong people into my relationships. I do not deserve to experience genuine, sustained happiness. These are not facts. They are programs, deeply embedded programs, but programs nonetheless. And like outdated software running on sophisticated hardware, they can be deliberately updated and replaced. Begin by cultivating genuine awareness of your inner dialogue. Observe the automatic, reflexive thoughts that surface when you set a new intention or visualize an expanded future. Notice specifically whether a "but" arrives, that internal voice that follows your positive declaration with a qualifying resistance. I want to attract an extraordinary relationship, but I always end up alone. I intend to build financial freedom, but I never seem to hold on to money. Once you have identified a limiting belief with clarity, begin questioning it systematically. Is it absolutely and unconditionally true? Where did it originate? Whose voice is actually speaking? What would I need to believe instead in order to move freely toward what I genuinely desire? Then, replace the old limiting belief with a new, consciously chosen one. Understand that this replacement requires genuine repetition and patience. You did not absorb your limiting beliefs overnight, and you will not rewrite deeply embedded neural pathways overnight either. But with deliberate, consistent effort and genuine emotional investment in your new belief, the new conviction gradually becomes your new normal. And with a new normal comes a new vibrational baseline. And with a new vibrational baseline, new results begin appearing as if by natural consequence, because they are. Belief and intention are not separate forces operating independently. They are intimately, inseparably connected. Your intentions provide the blueprint and direction for your manifestation, but belief is the activation mechanism, the switch that transforms thought into energetic reality by aligning your inner world with the specific outcome you have chosen. This is why the statement, "manifestation does not work," when examined honestly, almost always reveals that the person's operative beliefs have been quietly contradicting their stated intentions. You cannot authentically declare, "I am open to and worthy of deep, lasting love," if, at a deeper level, you carry the conviction that you will ultimately be abandoned by anyone who truly knows you. The outer world reflects your inner certainty, not your hopes, not your wishes,
your certainty. Emotion serves as the binding force that holds belief and vibration in dynamic alignment. It provides momentum and magnetic pull. Suppose you begin working with the new belief, "I am fully worthy of extraordinary success." Initially, it may feel like an act of imagination rather than a genuine inner truth. But when you consistently attach that belief to authentic, positive emotion, gratitude for the truth of it, joy in the feeling of it, genuine pride in your own capacity, you begin actively shifting your energetic state. You are no longer merely repeating words, you are embodying a new frequency. And when belief is felt and inhabited at that depth of genuine emotion, the universe responds at a volume and speed that surprises even the most seasoned manifestors. To create lasting, meaningful change in your life, you must become, on the inside, in your daily felt experience, the person who already naturally lives the reality you desire. That begins with adopting the beliefs that version of you already holds as obvious truths. Ask yourself with genuine curiosity, if my deepest desire had already fully manifested, what would I believe about my own worth and capacity? What would I believe about other people and their relationship to me? What would I believe about the fundamental nature of life and my place within it? Then make the bold choice to begin thinking, feeling, and acting from that version of yourself, not as performance, but as genuine identity practice. The universe does not respond to the person you were yesterday. It responds to the person you are choosing to be right now, in this moment, and in every moment that follows. Drop 888. I release all limiting beliefs, and I am now open to receiving beyond what I imagined, in the comments. Chapter 4. Asking the Universe with Clarity. Asking is not simply the act of stating your desires aloud or committing them to paper in a journal. In its truest form, asking is focused, intentional communication directed at the field of consciousness, the intelligent, responsive universe that recognizes and answers your vibration, your belief system, and your emotional signature. When executed with genuine presence and clarity, the act of asking becomes a living bridge between your interior desire and your exterior experience. It is a transmission sent from the deepest, most authentic level of your being. Clarity functions as the energetic equivalent of precision, the difference between a signal that cuts cleanly through interference and one that arrives garbled and indistinct. The more precisely and specifically focused your request, the more readily the universe can deliver a response that matches it. When your intentions remain vague, your results inevitably reflect that vagueness, arriving in forms that are equally unclear and undefined. Think of it this way. You walk into a restaurant and tell the server simply, "I would like food." The server looks at you with genuine confusion. Food? What variety? A main course or something lighter? With dietary restrictions or without? Warm or cold? This is precisely how the universe receives the majority of requests it encounters. I want to be happier.
I need more money. I hope for love. These are general, undefined frequencies, emotional broadcasts without sufficient specificity for the universe to translate into concrete, specific form. The universe does not respond to what you vaguely and conditionally want. It aligns itself with what you clearly, specifically, and confidently request. The more precisely defined your desire, the stronger and more coherent the signal you transmit, and the more efficiently the universe can organize itself in response. Before you ask the universe for anything of genuine significance, you must be rigorously honest with yourself about what you actually want. Not what others expect of you, not what society rewards with approval, not what sounds appropriately ambitious or spiritually evolved. Ask yourself the real questions. If no one whose opinion I value were observing me, what would I genuinely choose? If fear and its constraints were entirely removed from my consideration, what would I ask for? If I held the absolute certainty of success in advance, which desire would I pursue with my whole being? This level of unflinching self-honesty allows you to identify your core desires, those aligned with your authentic self rather than your social self. Core desires carry the energy of genuine meaning and personal resonance. When you ask from this place, your request carries energetic weight that surface-level wants simply cannot generate. The act of asking may be expressed through multiple channels and vehicles: spoken declarations, affirmations, or prayers voiced aloud with genuine feeling. Written expressions, including letters addressed directly to the universe, intentional journaling, or vivid scripting of your desired reality from inside the experience of living it. Mental projection through visualization of your desire as fully and completely fulfilled. And above all, emotional resonance, the genuine feeling of fulfillment experienced in advance of the physical arrival. You need not employ every one of these approaches simultaneously. Consistent depth in even one of them creates the coherence and clarity your request requires. The universe does not comprehend English or any other spoken language. It reads frequency. Asking with genuine clarity means you have brought your vibration, your emotional state, your belief system, and your chosen reality into full alignment. Here is a clear and practical formula for asking with the kind of clarity that genuinely commands a response. What plus why plus the feeling of the end result equals a clear and powerful request. First, define what you want with the greatest possible specificity. Rather than, I want meaningful work, craft, I am now engaged in work that is both deeply creative and abundantly compensated, where my natural strengths are recognized and my contribution genuinely matters. Second, connect your desire to a core value or a fundamental felt need. I desire this because it allows me to live with full creative expression, serve others in ways that feel authentic to me, and experience the freedom that is my natural state. Third, generate the feeling of already having it. the freedom, the joy, the peace, the vitality, whatever your specific desire would genuinely bring into your lived experience. This triad, what, why, feeling, when held with consistency and genuine emotional investment, begins organizing the field of possibility around your request with remarkable efficiency. Asking from a foundation of genuine trust is inseparable from the asking itself. As established in Chapter 3, belief is the emotional anchor that gives your desires their structural integrity. Asking from a state of doubt is energetically equivalent to sending a message and retracting it before it completes its transmission. You must ask as though the response is already in motion, because on an energetic level, it is. The most aligned way to inhabit this truth is to ask with full clarity and deliberate intention, and then consciously move into a state of open, relaxed expectation. Release the outcome. Trust that the universe received your transmission. Your responsibility is not to manage the delivery process. Your responsibility is to remain in vibrational alignment and stay genuinely open to receiving, in whatever form the response chooses to arrive. There are several common errors that even genuinely committed practitioners make when asking. Vagueness remains the most pervasive, asking for more money without defining how much, by what date, through what type of activity, or what it would feel like to have it. Asking from neediness or desperation emits a low frequency that signals lack rather than fulfillment, and the universe reliably delivers more of what your frequency is actually broadcasting. Over-asking, repeating the same request obsessively out of anxiety rather than genuine desire, signals distrust rather than faith, and distrust creates energetic interference in your transmission. And sending mixed or conflicting signals, asking for success on one day while quietly dreading the visibility that success requires on the next, produces the mixed and fragmented results that mirror your internal conflict. Visualization is your most powerful tool for generating the clarity that genuine asking requires. But visualization at its most effective is not merely a mental cinema of desired images. It is full sensory, fully embodied immersion. When you visualize your desired reality, engage all 5 senses simultaneously. What do you see around you in specific, vivid detail? What sounds fill the environment? What physical sensations move through your body? Who is present with you? Most critically, what emotions are alive and moving through you as you inhabit this reality? Affirmations, when used properly, function as spoken anchors that maintain your vibrational alignment between formal visualization sessions. Speak them from genuine feeling, not mechanical repetition. I am now receiving my desire in perfect timing. I am aligned, open, and fully prepared to receive. Everything I have asked for is already in active motion toward me. Once you have asked with authentic clarity, the universe begins its response. But the initial signs frequently arrive not as dramatic external events, but as subtle interior nudges. An unexpected idea surfaces. A conversation unexpectedly confirms your chosen direction. You begin noticing repeating numerical patterns. 111, 333, or 999, appearing in ways that feel like more than coincidence. These are not accidents. They are the universe's quiet confirmation that your transmission has been received and that the process of response is actively underway. Acknowledge them. Welcome them. Allow them to deepen your trust and strengthen your alignment. They are the universe whispering, "Keep going. It is working." There is an additional layer to asking with clarity that separates those who occasionally experience manifestation from those who live it as a consistent, reliable reality. It is the quality of your asking, not just the content. Two people can set the identical intention, use the identical words, follow the identical practices, and receive dramatically different results. The difference almost always comes down to the energetic quality that lives beneath the surface of the technique. One person is genuinely asking from a foundation of wholeness, from the inner knowing that they are already complete, that the desired manifestation is an addition to a life that is already fundamentally good, that they are choosing an expansion rather than filling a void. The other is asking from a foundation of lack, from the quiet desperation of someone whose sense of okayness in the present moment depends entirely on receiving what they have asked for. The universe responds with equal fidelity to both, but the results are vastly different. Asking from wholeness means you have done the internal work first. You have addressed the underlying beliefs. You have cultivated a genuine baseline of emotional well-being that does not require external conditions to justify it. You have built a relationship with the universe that is not transactional, but collaborative. From this foundation, asking becomes effortless and natural, like speaking to a trusted partner who you know has already heard you, who you know is already working on your behalf, who you trust completely to deliver in the best possible form and timing. This quality of asking also carries within it a particular kind of courage. It takes genuine courage to ask for what you truly want, not what seems reasonable or acceptable, or what you feel you have earned, but what your deepest self actually desires. The universe is not impressed by modesty. It is not moved by your willingness to settle for less than what your heart is genuinely reaching toward. Scaling back your desires because you doubt your worthiness does not make manifestation easier. It makes it smaller. And a smaller request made from doubt produces smaller, more uncertain results than a bold request made from genuine self-worth. Ask boldly. Ask specifically. Ask with the full weight of your emotional conviction and your authentic desire. Ask as though the universe is a generous, attentive collaborator who genuinely wants to give you everything that is aligned with your highest good, because it is. And then do the one thing that most people find most difficult. Trust the response. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust that what is coming is already in motion, already organized, already on its way to you through pathways you cannot yet see, but will recognize the moment they arrive. Asking is not a moment. It is a posture, a way of inhabiting your relationship with the universe, openly, boldly, gratefully, and always in motion toward the life you are consciously choosing to create. Chapter 5. Trusting the Process. By this point in your journey, you have established a solid and meaningful foundation. You understand the vibrational architecture of reality and how your inner state continuously broadcasts a signal into the universe. You have learned how to craft clear, aligned, emotionally charged intentions. You have examined the foundational role of belief in determining what your awareness recognizes as possible and what your energy actually attracts. You have discovered how to ask the universe with precision and genuine conviction. But after the asking comes perhaps the most misunderstood, most underestimated, and most challenging step in the entire manifestation journey: trusting the process completely, especially when you cannot yet see any evidence that it is working. Confidence in the process is easily summoned when things are visibly moving in your direction. The real test of your alignment arrives when nothing appears to be happening, when doubts emerge from the silence, when your desires seem to be taking far longer than you believed they should, when the gap between your vision and your current reality feels uncomfortably wide. This chapter is dedicated entirely to those moments, to how you maintain your vibrational alignment inside the uncertainty of the waiting. Because the space between asking and receiving is not wasted time. It is where your true inner power is cultivated, strengthened, and refined. After you have asked the universe with genuine clarity and aligned intention, you enter what can be understood as a sacred space of vibrational incubation. This is not a passive waiting period in which nothing significant is occurring. It is an active phase in which the energy of your desire is crystallizing, organizing, and preparing to translate from the energetic realm into physical form. Consider the metaphor of a seed planted in rich soil. You do not dig it up every morning to verify whether it is growing. You water it consistently. You trust the intelligence of the soil. You trust the nourishing power of sunlight. You trust the natural processes that you cannot see, but know with certainty are actively unfolding beneath the surface. Manifestation operates through the same principle. When you do not yet see visible results, it does not indicate that your request is not working. Far more often, it means the universe is reorganizing circumstances, aligning people, and preparing pathways. All of it invisible to you, like the growth of roots beneath the ground, until the day the breakthrough surfaces into your experience all at once. A fundamental aspect of trusting the process is releasing your attachment to the how and the when. These are the specific domains where most resistance accumulates. How will this actually happen? When will it arrive? Why is it taking so long? These questions, though entirely natural to the human mind, frequently carry an underlying frequency of doubt, a quiet signal to the universe that you are not fully certain your desire is genuinely on its way. The universe is not constrained by your personal timeline. It does not respond to urgency or impatience. It responds to frequency. When you attempt to micromanage the delivery process of your manifestation, checking constantly, trying to force outcomes through sheer will, attempting to control every variable, you create energetic resistance that actually slows the process. But when you consciously release the grip and say with genuine inner conviction, "I trust you completely," you become a clear and open channel for receiving, rather than an anxious, contracted one. One of the most paradoxical yet genuinely powerful truths in manifestation is this: you must care deeply enough about your desire to ask for it with full conviction, while simultaneously being emotionally detached enough from the outcome to allow the universe the freedom to deliver it. Detachment does not mean you have stopped wanting something. It does not mean you have given up or accepted a lesser version of your desire. It means you have reached a state where your sense of completeness, worthiness, and fundamental okayness no longer depends on whether this specific manifestation arrives. You can authentically say, "I would deeply love for this to manifest in my life, and I am whole and at peace either way." That is a signal of extraordinary energetic power. It communicates confidence. It communicates worthiness. It communicates trust. And trust consistently creates spaciousness, a calm, open, receptive space in which manifestation can unfold without the friction of your resistance working against it. Think of it this way. If you attempt to collect water in a tightly clenched fist, it spills and escapes before you can hold it. But open your hand completely, and the water rests naturally in your palm. That is the energetic quality of detachment: open, receptive, unheld. Even with the deepest spiritual knowledge and the most consistent practice, doubt will occasionally appear. That is not failure. That is the experience of being human. What determines whether doubt becomes a temporary passing cloud or a persistent energetic block is not whether it arrives, but how you consciously choose to relate to it when it does. When doubt surfaces, remind yourself of these truths. Doubt is a thought, not a fact. You have passed through uncertainty many times before, and circumstances ultimately resolved in your favor. The absence of visible evidence in this moment is not evidence of absence. It is simply evidence that the roots are still growing underground. Reflect on specific past instances when things worked out in your favor in ways you did not anticipate or plan. Use those memories as emotional anchors. They are concrete reminders, drawn from your own lived experience, that the universe has a consistent history of moving on your behalf, even when you could not see it happening. Journaling is especially valuable as a practice during these periods of apparent silence. Write your doubts honestly and without judgment. Then systematically write counter-beliefs that are equally honest. It is taking too long. Countered with, everything I have asked for is arriving in exactly the right timing for my highest good. What if it does not happen? Countered with, what if it happens in a form that far exceeds what I originally imagined? I feel completely stuck. Countered with, the most significant growth frequently feels like stillness immediately before it breaks through into visible reality. These are not hollow, positive thinking exercises. They are deliberate, intentional reframes that shift your actual state of being, your genuine vibration, from the frequency of fear and doubt to the frequency of trust and openness. The universe responds to who you are being in this moment, not to the timeline you have decided it should follow. Your desire already exists in the energetic realm as a complete reality. What determines the speed of its physical appearance is not the universe's willingness. It is the consistency and depth of your alignment. Resistance contracts energy and slows the delivery. Alignment opens the channel and accelerates it. The more consistently you return to peace, genuine presence, and authentic gratitude, not as a performance, but as a practiced inner state, the faster your manifestations move toward physical form, because your energy has become a genuine vibrational match to the frequency of what you have asked for. The universe is not testing you by making you wait. It is guiding you toward the level of inner development that will allow you to fully hold and integrate what you have asked for. Trust is the container within which manifestation is safely delivered, and trust, practiced consistently, becomes the most powerful transmission you can send. Write 1111. I trust the process completely, and I know everything I desire is already mine on an energetic level. Below. Chapter 6. Receiving and Acknowledging Manifestations. You have set your intentions with precision. You have aligned your beliefs with conscious dedication. You have asked the universe with clarity and emotional conviction. You have trusted the process with genuine inner steadiness. Now arrives the natural next movement in your manifestation journey. Learning how to receive what you have asked for, and to do so with full awareness, genuine presence, and an open, welcoming energy. This step may appear obvious. Of course you want to receive what you have desired, but the reality is that a significant number of people, more than would ever acknowledge it, unconsciously resist the very things they have been asking for. Sometimes the resistance arises from a deep-seated sense of unworthiness. Sometimes it comes from failing to recognize the manifestation because it arrives in an unexpected form. Sometimes it is simply the result of not being sufficiently present and aware to notice when the universe has actually answered. This chapter is about becoming a fully open and receptive channel, not merely skilled at transmitting requests, but equally capable of allowing the response to actually arrive and be integrated. Manifestation is not exclusively about output, what you think, feel, and project outward. It is equally and inseparably about input, what you are genuinely able to allow in. The energetic quality of receiving is receptivity. It is soft where striving is hard. It is open where grasping is contracted. It is present where anxious anticipation is always living in the future. Many people spend the vast majority of their energy in a relentless mode of doing, pushing, and efforting. But to truly receive, you must cultivate the complementary art of being grounded in the present moment, being in genuine vibrational alignment, being available, open, and unhurried to what the universe wants to deliver. Trust, as explored in the previous chapter, opens the door. Receptivity is what allows the gift to actually move through it. There are several specific reasons why people block their own manifestations, even as they appear to be arriving. The first is not believing in their own worthiness. When you carry a subconscious conviction that you do not deserve real success, genuine love, or lasting abundance, you will energetically reject these things when they show up, because they do not fit the self-image you have held as true about yourself. This is where the belief work from Chapter 3 becomes directly consequential in your daily lived experience. What you believe about your own worth quite literally determines what you allow to land in your life. The second reason is excessive attachment to a particular form. Sometimes your manifestation arrives differently than you envisioned. The career opportunity may appear in a city you had not considered. The meaningful relationship may begin not with dramatic fireworks, but with the quiet, deepening warmth of genuine companionship. If you are rigidly attached to one specific form of delivery, you will fail to recognize and may actively dismiss the actual gift that has arrived. Stay open to the form. Be clear about the essence. The third reason is insufficient presence. Manifestations do not always announce themselves with obvious fanfare. They frequently show up as subtle opportunities, quiet inner shifts in perception, or intuitive nudges that point in a new direction. If your attention is perpetually racing ahead into future projections or cycling back through past events, you will overlook the evidence that is quietly accumulating around you, that things are already working. Gratitude stands as the single most powerful bridge between the act of asking and the experience of receiving. When you express sincere, genuinely felt appreciation for what has already arrived, regardless of whether it appears large or small by your assessment, you communicate to the universe a clear and powerful message. I see you. I recognize this. I am awake to what you are delivering. I am ready for more. Gratitude is not merely an emotional comfort. It is a specific vibrational state that tunes your frequency to the experience of abundance. In the state of genuine gratitude, you are no longer focused on what is missing. You are fully aligned with the presence of what you have received. And what you focus on with genuine feeling consistently expands in your experience. Make gratitude a living daily practice rather than a periodic exercise. In the morning, before you engage with the demands of the day, reflect with genuine feeling on what has already arrived, even if it is a subtle internal shift, a new clarity you woke up carrying, an unexpected moment of ease, or simply the fundamental gift of another day in which to create and experience. Write with specificity. I am genuinely grateful for the unexpected ease I felt in this situation yesterday. I appreciate the synchronistic conversation that confirmed I am moving in the right direction. I am thankful for the growing inner peace that I am learning to carry consistently. Gratitude trains both your brain and your vibrational field to recognize abundance as your present reality rather than a future destination. When something you have consciously desired actually shows up in your life, honor the arrival by truly celebrating it. Celebration is a direct energetic signal to the universe that you have received and fully acknowledged the gift it delivered. This does not require a grand external demonstration. It can be as intimate and simple as taking a deliberate, mindful walk while genuinely reflecting on how far you have already traveled. Sharing the arrival with a trusted person who understands your journey. Writing in your journal with genuine emotional depth. This came to me. I called this forward. I manifested this reality, and I receive it with full gratitude and joy. Celebration is vibrational anchoring. It locks in the felt experience that this new reality is now your normal. And once your nervous system and energy field accept a new reality as simply normal, your vibration naturally invites even more. Receiving also requires a quality of genuine openness and non-resistance to how the universe chooses to deliver. Practice consistently saying to yourself, I am fully open to receiving my desires in whatever form most serves my highest good. Even when the delivery looks different from what I envisioned, I trust that it is aligned with what I most deeply asked for. This stance of flexible openness removes the unconscious resistance that comes from being too attached to a predetermined form, and it allows the intelligence of the universe, which comprehends your needs at a level that exceeds your own self-knowledge, to bring exactly what is right in exactly the way that is right. When you receive something you have manifested, there may simultaneously arise a quiet voice asking, is this really real? Can I genuinely sustain this? Am I truly capable of holding this level of good in my life? This is the moment when integration becomes essential. Integration means making your expanded reality a natural part of your identity, not treating it as a lucky anomaly that might disappear, but accepting it as the natural outgrowth of who you are and what you have deliberately cultivated. Begin managing your new circumstances with the self-image of someone who genuinely deserves and expects them. Begin showing up in your new reality with the full presence and gratitude of someone who recognizes it as earned and real. The universe extended this to you because you were ready. Now demonstrate that readiness by inhabiting your expanded life as though it belongs to you, because it does. There is something that deserves to be said plainly here, because it is the part of receiving that most people are never told, and that silently prevents them from fully integrating even the manifestations that do arrive. Receiving is an act of courage. Not the dramatic courage of facing an external challenge, but the quieter, more vulnerable courage of allowing yourself to accept good things without immediately finding a reason to discount them, minimize them, or question whether you truly deserve them. The inner critic, that voice shaped by years of conditioning, has a particular tendency to become loudest precisely in the moments when good things arrive, as if goodness arriving is a signal to immediately look for the catch, the cost, or the inevitable reversal. Recognize this pattern clearly. When something wonderful arrives, an unexpected opportunity, a relationship that feels remarkably right, a financial improvement that you asked for but secretly doubted would come, and your first internal response is suspicion rather than gratitude, that is the inner critic performing its old protective function. It is not wisdom. It is a conditioned reflex designed to protect you from disappointment by preempting joy. And it costs you every single time it operates unexamined. The practice of conscious receiving means noticing that reflex, acknowledging it with compassion rather than combat, and then gently but firmly choosing to stay open anyway. Choosing to allow the good to be real. Choosing to receive it fully rather than at arm's length. The universe has an extraordinary and well-documented tendency to deliver manifestations in layers. What arrives first is often not the final form of your desire, but an invitation into the energetic space of your desire, an opening, a beginning, a first movement. The person who asks for profound love and receives a new friendship that evolves into something deeper over time has received their manifestation. It simply arrived through a door they did not expect. The person who asks for financial freedom and receives an unexpected freelance opportunity that eventually grows into a thriving independent practice has received their manifestation. The seed and the full-grown tree are the same manifestation at different stages of expression. Stay committed to noticing beginnings. Stay awake to the small, quiet arrivals that are the early expressions of larger manifestations already in motion. Keep a manifestation record, a dedicated section of your journal in which you document every arrival, every synchronicity, every unexpected confirmation that your requests are being heard and answered. This record serves multiple purposes simultaneously. It trains your attention to notice what is working rather than fixating on what has not yet arrived. It builds an experiential evidence base for your belief system, concrete, personal proof that you draw upon when doubt visits. And it creates a feedback loop of gratitude and recognition that consistently elevates your vibrational baseline, which in turn accelerates the arrival of the next layer of manifestation. Receiving is the completion of the circuit. Asking without receiving is energy sent out without return. But when you consciously close that circuit, when you ask with clarity, align with trust, remain open and present, and then actively receive and acknowledge with genuine gratitude, you create a continuous, self-reinforcing flow of manifestation that becomes increasingly natural and effortless over time. The universe responds to acknowledgement. It moves toward appreciation. It fills the spaces where you express genuine gratitude with more of the same frequency. Receive everything that comes, the large arrivals and the small ones, the expected forms and the unexpected ones, with the same quality of presence and genuine appreciation. And watch as the flow that you have opened continues to expand and deepen in ways that exceed everything you originally imagined asking for. Chapter 7. Handling Setbacks and Staying in Alignment. No manifestation journey unfolds in a perfectly smooth, uninterrupted straight line. Even when you have genuinely mastered the practices of clear intention, aligned belief, asking with precision, trusting with steadiness, and receiving with presence and gratitude, life will still present you with moments that feel contrary to everything you have been building. Things do not always arrive in the timeline you anticipated. Doubt resurfaces just as you believed you had permanently moved beyond it. Old fears and habitual patterns appear with renewed intensity at precisely the moments when you are closest to a significant breakthrough. These moments are not exceptions to the manifestation journey. They are an integral part of it. The path is never perfectly linear. It spirals, revisiting earlier territory at deeper levels, bringing you back to familiar challenges, but with greater awareness and more developed tools for navigating them. This chapter is dedicated entirely to those moments of apparent reversal, because the truth that transforms your relationship to setbacks is this: they are not failures. They are not evidence that the process is broken or that you have been doing something wrong. They are invitations, precise, intelligent opportunities to go deeper into genuine alignment, to clarify the dimensions of your desire that have not yet been fully defined, and to strengthen your relationship with the universe precisely when it would be easiest to abandon it. A delay is not a denial. A challenge is not a punishment being administered by an indifferent cosmos. A detour does not mean you are lost. It frequently means you are being redirected toward a better route than the one you originally mapped. Think of the physics of a slingshot. To launch something with extraordinary force and precision, you must first pull it back against resistance. The resistance is not the obstacle. The resistance is the source of the launch velocity. Some of your greatest manifestations have arrived not in spite of the difficult periods that preceded them, but specifically because of what those periods required you to develop, release, and become. When your manifestation takes longer than you decided it should, the first and most important response is to resist the temptation to interpret the delay as denial. Instead, use the delay as a signal to turn inward with genuine curiosity. Ask yourself honestly, am I truly ready, not just eager, to receive this fully? Is there a dimension of my belief system that still carries resistance I have not yet examined? Is there an aspect of my identity that is not yet fully aligned with the version of me who naturally inhabits this reality? Delays frequently indicate that internal preparation is still actively occurring, that the universe is not withholding from you, but completing the behind-the-scenes reorganization required for your desire to arrive in the most sustainable and aligned form. Emotional setbacks are equally natural and equally informative. You may experience periods of unexpected anxiety, motivational collapse, or a sudden resurgence of discouragement even after a sustained period of genuine progress. These emotional waves are not evidence of regression. They are part of the inherently non-linear nature of inner transformation. What matters is not avoiding them, they cannot be avoided, but developing the skill of surfing them without being overwhelmed. This is emotional resilience in its most practical form. When you notice yourself drifting back into old patterns of fear, scarcity thinking, or the quiet conviction of unworthiness, treat it as useful information rather than a verdict. You have simply encountered a layer of the old programming that has not yet been fully updated. Address it gently, directly, and with tools you have already built. External challenges, an opportunity that falls through, a financial contraction, a relationship that ends during the period when you have been consciously manifesting a new and better one, are perhaps the most disorienting category of setback because they appear to be the universe moving in the opposite direction from what you requested. But these external challenges frequently serve as catalysts. They create the energetic space and the internal clarity that your desire requires. The relationship that ended was preventing the arrival of the one that is genuinely aligned. The opportunity that collapsed would have taken you in a direction that did not ultimately serve your highest intention. The financial contraction is pressing you toward the creative solutions and new capabilities that the next level of your abundance actually requires. Reframe these not as blocks, but as precisely engineered redirections. Alignment is not about achieving a static state of perfection that you then maintain effortlessly. It is a dynamic, real-time process of continuous recalibration, like the ongoing, moment-by-moment adjustments a skilled pilot makes in response to turbulence, never abandoning the destination, but constantly adjusting the approach. You have the full capacity to return to your center in every moment that you have drifted from it. That capacity does not expire. It does not diminish with use. It grows stronger with each return. When the external world feels chaotic or contradictory to your intentions, return first to presence. Pause deliberately. Breathe with conscious awareness. Ground yourself in what is actually and genuinely true in this specific present moment, not in your mind's projections of a feared future or its replaying of a painful past. The present moment, examined honestly, is almost always far more peaceful than the catastrophizing narrative your mind generates about it. Presence consistently dissolves fear, because fear requires a projection away from now to sustain itself. Return also to your why, the deeper values and genuine meaning that gave birth to your intention in the first place. When you reconnect with why this desire genuinely matters to you at the level of your authentic self, rather than focusing on the surface-level frustration of its delayed arrival, you reliably recover the emotional resilience required to stay the course. The deeper and more authentic your why, the more durable your commitment to the path. Use every setback as a mirror that reflects something back to you about your energy, your beliefs, or your habitual patterns. Ask with genuine curiosity rather than judgment, what is this situation showing me? What quality in me has contributed to creating this? What belief is being surfaced so that I can finally examine and update it? This level of honest self-inquiry, practiced without the cruelty of self-blame, but with the precision of genuine self-knowledge, is where authentic transformation occurs. Not in the smooth, easy periods, but in the moments that press you toward deeper self-awareness. When you feel your alignment slipping, here are the most reliably effective practices for returning to vibrational harmony. Return to your original vision with full emotional immersion. See it again in your mind's eye, not as a distant future hope, but as a present reality you are inhabiting right now. Feel the joy, the freedom, the peace, the aliveness of it. Let that feeling recalibrate your energetic state from the inside. Compile a genuine gratitude list, not as a mechanical exercise, but as a sincere inventory of what is already real and good in your present experience. Feel each item as you write it. Gratitude recalibrates your entire frequency more quickly and reliably than almost any other single practice. Move your body deliberately. Energy that has stagnated in the physical body creates emotional and mental stagnation as well. Walk, stretch, dance, breathe deeply with intention. Physical movement is one of the most direct and efficient routes back to vibrational alignment. And speak to the universe directly, not from a place of complaint or desperate pleading, but from the honest, humble, grounded position of a genuine partner. Say aloud, "I may not be able to see the path clearly right now, but I trust that you see it completely. I release my need to control how this unfolds. I am open. I am ready. Deliver what is most aligned with my highest good in the timing and form that serves me best." To stay in alignment even when results are invisible, to continue transmitting a high-frequency signal even when your outer circumstances have not yet caught up to your inner reality, is the highest expression of manifestation process. It is the demonstration to the universe that you genuinely trust, not only when things are easy, but especially when they are not. Remember, the universe does not respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. Become, as fully and consistently as you can, the version of yourself who already inhabits the reality you are calling forward. Feel as they feel. Think as they think. Make choices as they would make them. Hold that vibration until the physical world catches up. It always does, for those who stay. Write 444. I am steady, aligned, and unshakable even in the storms. Leave this below. The closing. You have traveled far in these pages. Farther, perhaps, than the distance from one chapter to the next might suggest. Because what this journey has asked of you is not merely the accumulation of new information. It has asked you to step into a fundamentally different relationship with yourself, with the universe, and with the creative power that has always lived within you, waiting patiently and without judgment for you to finally recognize it and claim it fully. Let us return now to the deepest truth that is lived beneath every chapter, every practice, and every word of this audiobook. You are not separate from the universe. You were never separate. The separation was always the illusion, a story told by a mind that mistook the boundary of the skin for the boundary of the self. You are not a small, isolated consciousness sending requests into a vast, indifferent emptiness, hoping something powerful enough to hear you might occasionally respond in your favor. You are the universe becoming aware of its own extraordinary creative capacity through the unique, irreplaceable lens of your particular consciousness. You are the field itself, awakening to the reality of what it has always been capable of expressing. Every chapter of this audiobook was a movement toward remembering something you already knew before you were taught to forget it. In the opening chapter, you discovered that the universe is not a collection of inert physical objects governed by blind mechanical laws. It is vibration, frequency, and intelligent energy responding in real time, continuously, without pause, to the quality of your inner state. Your thoughts and emotions are not private, inconsequential whispers that vanish into the silence of your skull. They are powerful, ongoing broadcasts that shape the architecture of your experienced reality with relentless precision. In the second chapter, you practiced the art of crystallizing desire into clear, specific, emotionally charged intention, moving from the passive posture of hoping into the active authority of choosing. You learned that your clarity is not merely helpful to the manifestation process. It is the very instrument through which desire becomes form, the ink with which you write the blueprint of your expanding life. In Chapter 3, you confronted the most important and most frequently underestimated element of the entire manifestation system, your beliefs. Not the beliefs you profess when describing your spiritual philosophy, but the operative beliefs that run silently and continuously beneath the surface of your daily experience, shaping what you see, what you allow, what you attract, and what you reject. You discovered that belief is a choice, not a conclusion forced upon you by evidence, but a deliberate decision that evidence then reorganizes itself to reflect. And you learned that the most essential belief of all is not that your desires are possible in theory, but that you, specifically, personally, as you actually are right now, are genuinely worthy of receiving them. In Chapter 4, you learned to speak the language the universe actually comprehends, not the language of words, but the language of frequency, emotion, and embodied conviction. You discovered that to ask from wholeness is infinitely more powerful than to ask from lack. That clarity of desire, fused with genuine emotional certainty, becomes a signal of such precision and power that the universe cannot help but organize itself in response. In Chapter 5, you navigated the most difficult terrain on the manifestation path, the sacred, demanding space between asking and receiving. You built the inner musculature of genuine trust, the kind that holds steady not when the evidence is encouraging,
but when the evidence has not yet appeared. You came to understand that the universe is not operating on your timeline. It is operating on a frequency of intelligence that comprehends the full picture of your becoming, including the internal preparation that must precede each external arrival. In Chapter 6, you opened yourself to the often overlooked art of receiving, of genuinely allowing the universe's response to land, to be recognized, to be welcomed with gratitude and integrated as a new and permanent reality. You learned that receiving requires courage,
presence, flexibility of form, and the willingness to accept that you are worthy of the good that has actually arrived. And in Chapter 7, you stood in the storms and refused to be swept away by them. You learned to read setbacks as redirections, delays as preparation, and apparent reversals as the slingshot mechanism of a system that is consistently, intelligently working in your favor, even when it most obviously appears not to be. Now you stand at the threshold that every genuine student of this work eventually reaches, the place where you stop being a student of manifestation and begin simply being a conscious creator, where the techniques are no longer separate practices you pick up and put down, but integrated expressions of who you fundamentally are, where the conversation with the universe is no longer something you initiate in dedicated sessions and then set aside until the next one, but the continuous, living, dynamic dialogue of your entire existence. You are not powerless. You have never been powerless. You are not broken or behind or fundamentally lacking in whatever quality you believed you needed before you could begin. You are a frequency, a soul, a spark of the intelligence that organized atoms into galaxies and called life into existence through the sheer, magnificent improbability of it all. And that same intelligence pulses through every cell of your body, through every thought that arises in your awareness, through every beat of the heart that has carried you to this exact moment of recognition. When you align your thoughts, your emotions, and your intentions, when you inhabit the truth of who you are rather than the story of who you were conditioned to believe yourself to be, you are not merely participating in some metaphysical practice. You are exercising the most fundamental creative authority available to a conscious being. You are literally speaking reality into existence, not through wishful thinking or magical formula, but through the genuine, disciplined, courageous practice of becoming the person whose vibration naturally calls forward the life they have consciously chosen. Before you carry these words into the world and into the daily texture of your life, there is something that Elite Success Audiobooks wants you to hold with you, not as a final instruction, but as a permanent companion truth. The work you do on yourself is never wasted. Not the quiet morning practice when no one is watching, not the deliberate reframe when doubt has its hand on your shoulder, not the patient work of sitting with a limiting belief until you understand it well enough to release it, not the moment you choose gratitude when resentment would have been far easier. None of it is wasted. All of it accumulates. All of it compounds. All of it is heard. The universe does not have a short memory. Every moment of genuine alignment you have ever practiced is a deposit into an account that does not depreciate. Every time you chose to trust when the evidence had not yet appeared, that choice registered at the frequency level of reality. Every time you caught yourself contracting into fear and deliberately chose to expand back into openness, that movement was real and consequential. You are not starting from zero. You have never started from zero. You are building on a foundation that is already deeper and more solid than you may presently be able to perceive. What shifts now, what genuinely and permanently shifts as you carry this understanding forward, is your relationship to the process itself. You stop waiting for manifestation to begin. You recognize that it has always been underway. You stop trying to figure out how to earn the right to communicate with the universe. You recognize that you have always been in communication, and that improving the quality and clarity of that communication is simply a practice of becoming more authentically yourself. You stop treating the techniques as magic spells that you perform correctly or incorrectly. You recognize them as mirrors that show you where your inner alignment is solid and where it still needs attention. The most profound thing this journey has been asking you to do is also the simplest. Become more fully, honestly, and courageously yourself. Not the self that was shaped by fear, not the self that was sculpted by other people's expectations and limitations. Not the performance of spiritual development that looks good from the outside but is hollow at the center. The actual you, the version that existed before the world told you who to be and who not to be. That version is the one the universe has always been trying to reach. That version is the one whose signal is clear, whose frequency is high, and whose desires are aligned with something real and deep and worth manifesting. Trust yourself. You are more capable of this than you have been allowing yourself to believe. You have more access to the field of infinite possibility than any limitation story in your history would suggest. You are the universe, conscious of itself, choosing deliberately, speaking clearly, and receiving abundantly. Begin now. Begin here. Begin exactly as you are. The universe is not waiting for a better version of you to show up before it responds. It is responding right now, in this moment, to the frequency of who you are being. Make that frequency as clear, as genuine, and as aligned with your deepest truth as you possibly can. And then watch, with genuine wonder and an open, grateful heart, as the world reorganizes itself around the signal you are finally free enough to transmit. The conversation with the universe never ends. It does not conclude when you close this audiobook or when you achieve a particular manifestation or when you reach a certain level of understanding. It continues, evolving, deepening, expanding for as long as you are here. And every thought you carry forward from this moment is part of that conversation. Every feeling you choose to inhabit is part of that conversation. Every action you take from genuine alignment is part of that conversation. So now we arrive at the only question that has ever truly mattered. The one that has been waiting quietly beneath every page of this journey, every practice, every moment of doubt you navigated, and every moment of genuine alignment you cultivated. What will you say next? Not from fear, not from lack, not from the exhausted, contracted posture of someone hoping the universe might finally, if they get the technique exactly right, decide they are worthy of a response. But from the grounded, radiant, unshakable truth of someone who has remembered, finally and completely, what they have always been. Speak boldly. Speak clearly. Speak from the full depth of who you are, because the universe is listening. It has always been listening, and it has never once stopped responding to the frequency of your truest self. This is Elite Success Audiobooks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the courage it took to begin this journey and the even greater courage it takes to continue it. May every intention you set be grounded in your deepest truth. May every belief you choose expand what you allow yourself to receive. May every day be a sacred, unfolding conversation with the infinite intelligence that lives within you, as you, and through you. And may the reality you step into next be so extraordinary that it makes everything that came before it feel like exactly the preparation it was. Now go, speak your reality into existence. Comment 1111. I am the universe awake. I am the signal and the receiver. I am ready. Leave this now. Drop 888. I am whole. I am worthy, and I am ready to receive everything that is aligned with who I truly am in the comments below. Stop for a moment, not because you have to, but because something in you already knows that this moment is different. Something that has been quietly waiting, patient, still, and certain, is finally ready to be heard. You have been carrying something heavy, maybe for months, maybe for years. A dream you haven't told anyone about because you weren't sure it was allowed. A version of yourself you can picture so clearly in your mind, so real, so vivid, and yet every morning you wake up and that version feels just slightly out of reach. Like you're standing at the edge of a life that belongs to you, but no one gave you the door. I want you to hear this clearly. That version of you is not a fantasy. It is not arrogance. It is not wishful thinking dressed up in pretty language. It is a signal, a transmission from the truest, deepest, most unedited part of who you are, telling you exactly where you are meant to go. The universe did not place that vision inside you to torture you with it. It placed it there because you are the one who is supposed to live it. But here is what most people never understand. The universe does not respond to how badly you want something. It does not respond to how long you have waited, how hard you have worked, or how many times you have asked. It responds to one thing and one thing only: who you are being right now, in this moment, in every quiet moment when no one is watching. Your thoughts are not private. Your emotions are not contained inside your body. They radiate. They broadcast. They travel outward into the field of reality like signals from a tower. And the universe, in its extraordinary intelligence, reflects those signals back to you in the form of your circumstances, your relationships, your opportunities, your obstacles. Every single thing in your life right now is a precise, accurate reflection of the frequency you have been living at. Not the frequency you wish you were living at, the frequency you actually inhabit. And that truth, that honest, sometimes uncomfortable truth, is also the most liberating thing you will ever hear. Because it means your life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. It is a continuous, responsive, intelligent conversation between who you are on the inside and what shows up on the outside. And if you don't love what you're seeing, you have the absolute power to change the signal. That is what this is about. Not manifesting in the sense of closing your eyes and wishing hard enough. Not affirmations repeated robotically until they lose all meaning. Not vision boards you glance at once and forget. This is about something far more fundamental. This is about waking up to the conversation that has always been happening, the one you have been participating in without knowing it, and finally choosing to speak with intention. Think about who you were 5 years ago, the beliefs you held, the stories you told yourself about what was possible for you, about what you deserved, about how the world worked. Now look at where you are today. Do you see the connection? The life you are living right now is the physical expression of the inner world you inhabited then. The person you are becoming right now, the beliefs you are choosing, the feelings you are practicing, the identity you are stepping into, that is what your life will look like 5 years from now. You are always manifesting. The only question is whether you are doing it consciously or by default. And I know there are moments, maybe this is one of them, when you have done everything you thought you were supposed to do. You visualized. You affirmed. You believed or tried to believe, and still nothing seemed to move. Still, the gap between where you are and where you want to be felt impossible to cross. And in those moments, a quiet voice crept in and said, "Maybe this doesn't work. Maybe it works for other people. Maybe I'm the exception." You are not the exception. You never were. What was missing in those moments wasn't effort. It wasn't technique. It wasn't the right words or the right ritual. What was missing was alignment. The deep, genuine, cellular-level alignment between what you say you want and who you are actually being when you are not thinking about it. Between your conscious declarations and your subconscious operating system. Between the signal you are trying to send and the signal you are actually transmitting. That gap between what you want and what you are vibrationally living is the only thing that has ever stood between you and everything you have asked for. And you can close it, not overnight, not by forcing it, but by doing the real work, the inner work, of becoming the person who already lives the life you desire, of adopting the beliefs that version of you holds, of feeling as often and as genuinely as possible the emotions that version of you carries through their day, of making choices, even small ones, from the identity of someone who already has what they are calling in. The universe is not withholding from you. It is not testing you. It is not making you wait because you haven't suffered enough or proven yourself worthy. It is simply responding with extraordinary precision and without judgment to the frequency it receives from you. Change the frequency, change everything. This audiobook is your guide for doing exactly that. Chapter by chapter, principle by principle, you are going to understand not just the theory of how the universe works, but how to actually live it, how to make it real in the texture of your daily life, how to carry these truths not as ideas you believe in theory, but as a way of being that becomes so natural, so consistent, so deeply yours that manifestation stops being something you do and becomes simply who you are. You did not find this by accident. The fact that you are here, listening, in this moment, that itself is the universe responding. That is the signal already beginning to shift. Stay with it. Go all the way through. Something in you is ready, and the universe has been ready for you all along. This is Elite Success Audiobooks. Let's begin.